Hi, I'm Roger. I'm from Hotfoot, and we're here today in this commercial building which has a pigeon infestation, and we're going to show you the right way to install our spikes, and we're also going to show you the right way to clean the surface to protect yourselves and make sure that the surface is clean and ready for the application of the products. First thing we have to remember is bird droppings are very toxic. Never ever attempt to brush up and clean dry bird droppings. So we have a ledge here where the birds are using for roosting, and we're going to show you the right way to clean this ledge first and protect yourself against any of the bacteria and the virus and the germs that's in bird droppings. So the first thing to do is to look at the protective equipment you should be using. Number one is a full face mask respirator. This is a respirator which covers your nose, your mouth, and the appropriate filter screws here onto the sides. You can find full details about which filter is appropriate to use by going to our website in Hotfoot.com. I am going to wear gloves. We have gloves here. Any common glove that you can buy from any hardware store will do the trick. Second thing is I have in my ordinary garden sprayer here an EPA registered sterilizing solution. We have water, we have sterilizing solution that contains a little bit of detergent, 2%. We have an odor neutralizer, and we have the sterilizing solution, EPA registered sterilizer. And what I'm going to do is take this ordinary garden sprayer and we're going to wet the surface down here now thoroughly. We're going to coat all of the fecal matter and give it a good soaking in this sterilizing solution. I'm going to leave that solution sit there on the bird droppings for at least 2 minutes to let it soak in before I do anything further. This has been soaking for about 2 minutes. I have a common ordinary hand brush you get from a hardware store, and now what we're going to do is we're going to brush these droppings here, and you can see the droppings here. We're going to get this surface so it's completely free. The bird fecal matter. And you can see as I'm doing this, there's no dust blowing up, there's no fecal matter in my face. I am totally protected from any contamination that may be in the droppings. Having done that, a plain ordinary rag is good enough. Take your rag, wipe it across the surface to clean off the excess of the liquid here. And then we're just going to wait now for this to dry, and this surface will then be ready to install our bird repellents. Today I'm going to show you the right way to install spikes that will repel pigeons and gulls and larger birds, and I'm going to show you the correct choice between the different models of spikes that are available. The first thing I want you to remember is that bird spikes, no matter what manufacturer you choose, will never work on small birds like sparrows, starlings, mourning doves, small birds like that. They are totally ineffective. Sparrows can actually land right on these prongs right here. They'll land between the prongs, and then they will use this as a support for their nest. Only use spikes for pigeons and larger birds such as small gulls. So here you can see we have 4 different models of spikes. We have a 1-prong, a 2-prong, a 3-prong, and a 5-prong. A 1-prong spike is designed to be installed on the edge of a gutter, a narrow surface no more than 2 inches wide, such as a sprinkler pipe or the edge of a gutter. The 2-prong spike has 2 spikes separated by 2 inches here. This will cover up to 4 inches of a ledge or a 4-inch diameter pipe. The 3-prong spike will cover 4 inches between here plus another 2. This will cover 6 inches of a ledge, a 6-inch wide ledge. And finally, our 5-prong model called the RSV5, this has got 5 prongs. It is 8 inches from here to here. So if you have a window or a ledge behind, this will give you up to 10 inches of coverage. So let me show you now the easiest way to install these spikes. And what we do is we like to use an adhesive so there is no need to penetrate the surface with nails or screws or sheet metal screws. As you can see, this is a wide ledge, and if we were to take a 3-prong spike which has 4 inches of coverage and we were to set it here on the leading edge of the ledge, that's going to leave us 3 inches back here which is unprotected. Now a spike is an anti-landing device. It only stops birds from landing like pigeons and gulls. If you allow the rear of the ledge to be unprotected, or the right or the left of the spike, a bird can land here, walk along, and he can push his way between these prongs, and they will reinfest the ledge by nesting. So it is absolutely essential, if you want to protect the entire width of the ledge, you have to use a spike with either enough prongs so it covers the whole width of the ledge, or if that isn't big enough, you have to use multiple rows of spikes. Now, let's look at this 3-prong here for an example. If you were going to protect this entire ledge, you would need 1 row of spikes here and 1 row of spikes behind it. Now, the golden rules here are to make sure that the spikes, which are on the leading edge of your ledge here, are at least level with the edge of the ledge. They're not set back, otherwise the pigeon will land here and he'll push his way between the prongs. So you've got to set it up so this row of spikes is level with the edge of the ledge. Hey, the easiest way to do that, get a piece of cardboard, set it up level with the edge of the ledge, and then position your spike so it's level with the edge of the ledge. It's that easy. Now, for multiple rows, you want there to be no more than 2 inches between this prong and this one. So if you're setting up multiple rows of spikes, then you must have no more than 2 inches between the opposing spikes. So if you have a 1-prong, a 2-prong, or a 3-prong model, and you're doing multiple rows, no more than a 2-inch gap between the prongs. Now here's a problem. When you're using the 5-prong spike, you can see that this outer spike is set at a very low angle. Now, because this ledge here is only 7 inches wide, I can set this up so that the outer spike is level with the edge there, and I can set up level here, and I've actually got complete coverage with that 1 spike. But if this was wider and I needed multiple rows, you must not set the spikes so that they are 2 inches apart. On a 5-prong or an 8-inch wide spike, if you're going to do multiple rows, you must overlap the outermost prongs by 1 inch. So 2 rows of spikes, 16 inches of coverage, less 1 for the overlap, 15 inches of coverage. That is critical for an 8-inch wide or a 5-prong spike. Always overlap this center prong by 1 inch, and the pigeons will not be able to get in the center here. Okay, so here I have an adhesive. You can find this on our website at Hotfoot.com. Simply take your adhesive and you run a nice thick bead down the center line of the base of your spike, right down here like this. Now this is a no slump adhesive, which means it's coming out very thick and very goopy right out of the cartridge. The reason we like that is because when you're doing an installation against large birds like pigeons and gulls, they'll often come in and try and land when you've just finished your installation. This material, you can see it's very thick, it's not dripping off the base of the spike. It'll hold the prongs there in place even though the pigeon bumps it. So we can set this up here. I've got this outer prong lined up with the edge of the ledge. Then all I have to do is to push it down, simple little press on each end, and you'll notice that I have the adhesive squirting up between the little holes on the base, and that's the way I want it to be. That spike is now set in place. That adhesive will dry in a matter of half an hour or so, and it's ready to go. Even now, you can see I can move this prong around with my fingers. I can give it a fairly substantial tug. I can give it a fairly decent movement here. That prong is not moving. So this adhesive is really great. That's all you have to do. If you needed to stick on another couple of pieces, maybe you want to go a little further, take another snap off piece of the appropriate size, run your adhesive down the center line of the base once again, like that. Then stick it here at the end of the product, and this is how you line up multiple rows of spikes. You simply line up the ends together, and there you have exactly the size piece you like.